All right, Reagan, let's get into it. Special teams. So I mean, I understand like it's special teams, and everybody's like, it's special teams, like whatever.
No, bro.
And
after last year,
it's the first one, but yeah, Reagan. I mean, this is massive. Like to discuss this is massive. Previewing, like, we were last year. We went to last year going like it could be a weakness because there's like everything was brand new, right? Like. You had to have a new kicker. You had lost Cade York. You had a new punter. You had lost Zach Van Rosenberg. I mean, you were just redoing everything, right? I mean, everything was brand new for the special teams unit, and you had a new coach. I mean, it was just a complete overhaul. And there were some pieces that you liked, but ultimately, it was a concern. It was a concern, and ultimately, that became true throughout this season. I mean, you think about the Florida State game, you think about the Tennessee game, and I mean, there's mistakes in those games that were on special teams.
Every game
that cost LSU the game. There was mistakes. It seemed like every game that hurt LSU. A lot of
formation, can't catch it. Everything, penalties,
coverage, everything. It was bad, and a lot of people called for Brian Polian's head. And we weren't saying, hey, like fire him because he did a really good job at being a recruiting coordinator. But ultimately there was a demotion and then he moves on himself.
Yeah.
So, you no longer have Brian Polian. Josh Danzig, who was an analyst, gets promoted. Obviously, he was the former defensive coordinator at Georgia and Tennessee.
Yeah,
was an analyst last year on the team. He gets promoted to special teams coordinator. Let's see what happened. I mean, that's one of his positions, right? Yeah. It's not like his sole title, but it's one of his jobs as a coach here on staff. So it'll be interesting to see, how he plays into this, how he does as a coach and leading this unit. But let's talk. Kind of the positions, the key positions, obviously in this unit. Let's start with kicker. I mean, obviously that's the biggest part of the special teams is kicker. They play the most important, most major role in the unit because they are the point getters, right? And they're the only point getters in this unit. So obviously Damian Ramos took sole position of starting kicker last year, and I gotta be honest, Reagan did a good job. I mean, for what LSU special teams was last year. I mean, Damian Ramos had some really key moments. I mean, he is not going to be, he's not Cade York, right? Let's just be blunt. Like, he's not out here and it's 50 plus, and you're going, oh man, like we're good. Like it's 50 plus, no biggie, right? Like when he gets in that 40 plus range, you're going, but like inside 40, pretty solid, really solid kicker. He had some key moments for you. I mean, you think about the Florida game, you think about some other games that were massive. There
was one moment though. There was one moment that you really needed him to kick. I can't remember which game it was, but man, you really needed him to kick a field goal, and it was like 46 yards, and he nailed it. I can't remember which game it was, but that was one moment I was like, that was great. That was great. I can't remember which one it was though. Maybe somebody in the comments.
Probably, who knows? I mean, you think about what was did we have to kick field goals?
I wanted to say it was in Bama.
In the Bama game, we had to kick a couple of crucial field goals.
Yeah. In the Bama game, I want to say it was in the Bama game.
I mean, he kicked a field goal to go up. What was it? 17 to something. 17 to I can't remember exactly. 17 to 16 or something like that. I mean, he made some big field goals this past year, so he is going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy. Now we'll be interested to see. Does he hold on to that the entire year? I think so. It depends on how he. I mean, we've seen in the offseason too. There's been some social media posts by him of him like kicking 60 yarders, right? Yeah. Now, of course, that's like teed up. It's in practice. Yeah. It's not. It's not in the heat of battle, right? In the nervousness of a moment in a packed stadium, against another team that's
There's
coming
no
at
snap, hold, spin. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, but great to see him kicking, from that distance and nailing field goals. But I'm not super worried about. I'm not super worried about Damian. But if you have to kick some long field goals, and you're playing some tight games, which I mean, obviously, I think LSU will this year. And your offense stalls out like right after they get past the 50. Once they get into 30, 40 area, and you got to kick some long field goals, then I start to get nervous, right? Then I start to get a little nervous. So anyway, what's your thought, Reagan, on kicker, on Damian, or I mean, is there another guy you see maybe potentially emerge, maybe take the spot?
Oh, well,
I don't think so. But.
I mean, Ramos, like we talked about, he was pretty solid last year. And I think he is the guy who starts, and we'll see if that carries on. I mean, Nathan Dibert, I think, could be a guy who could potentially get some looks.
And he's going to be a kickoff specialist.
Yeah, right. And so I don't know. Maybe we'll see Dibert in the kicker role. But I think right now it's Ramos, and honestly, I think it's about the same as last year. Maybe there's been some improvement, like on his leg strength from strengthening and conditioning. Maybe he's got some more distance in him. But I definitely think that it's going to be Ramos for. I think he'll take it and he'll run with it. Honestly, I think Divert's going to be your place kicker, like you were talking about. So I think it's Ramos' job, and I think it's his to lose, if anything. So
correct. Now, where I am most confident, I think you would agree with this, is obviously at punter. Jay Bramlett is a fifth-year guy, sixth-year guy now. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
veteran.
I think he's a super senior. He did phenomenal last year. He really was, honestly, probably the strength of the special teams.
Absolutely.
I mean, Damian held his own, but probably the strength of the special teams. I think I remember one punt that Jay, kind of shanked a little bit and wasn't great. But overall, Jay Bramlett, I mean, he is a guy that he could change games because he can reverse field position. He's going to be able to pin team deep into their own territory. I mean, he can play a major role in some of these games that you're going to be playing in, and some of these tight ball games you're going to be playing in. The biggest thing for me on punting is the punt coverage. There was some times when the punt coverage was not great. So can you adjust? Can you fix some of those things? Outside of that, I think punt coverage is going to be great. Now, the biggest question, Reagan, I'll let you kind of lead this off, is on the flip side of that, whenever LSU is receiving a punt, who's going to be that guy that gets it? We saw Michael Clayton kind of emerge. I mean, really, and it was just because, he can catch the ball.
He can catch the ball.
Like last year.
He goes up there, throws a fair catch, and catches it.
Last year, it was like butt cheeks clenched, close your eyes, curl up in a ball on the ground and pray to the Lord.
Please catch it.
They catch the punt, right? And I mean, I remember one game. I can't remember what game it was. It was later on in the season. That I would leave the room. I'd leave, and I'd ask Dad, did they catch it? He'd be like, yes. Or I'd close my eyes and I'd just wait to hear the TV, nothing bad happen.
Yeah.
Look, seriously, that's how it was for me last year. In a few moments. So, the biggest question this year is, who do you stick back there? Michael Gregory Clayton was the guy that just they put back there out of the necessity of finding somebody that could catch the ball.
Right.
We've heard a lot of things about Aaron Anderson. Reagan, what's your take on who's going to be the punt returner this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a problem last year, but I think it could potentially be, a great threat this year in terms of a threat for the opponent, not for us.
Yeah.
In Aaron Anderson. I mean, Aaron Anderson in high school was an amazing returner. And he was doing really well at Alabama before his injury. He transfers to LSU, and I think he'd be an immediate impact player on special teams. Lightning speed. I think we won't have any problems with him catching it. He's very used to doing it. It's something that he's done for a long time. It's not like Malik Neighbors, who we put out there game one because of, his ability to make plays, but he wasn't used to catching punts. Like, it's not something he's normally used to doing. With Aaron Anderson, I think it's something he's always done, and it's something that he's really good at. And I think it could really be a benefit for this team, or a game changer for this team, compared to last year when it was just like you were just saying, like you were just begging that they would just catch him, and that's all that Clayton was. But I do think Aaron Anderson is your returner. I think he's potentially your returner on both punt returns and kickoff. I mean, I don't see why not. I don't see why not.
Punt return might be maybe a little bit of a question because Michael was there last year and he did such a great job last year.
Yeah.
If there's some issues with the punt coverage and the defense is getting down there, and beating out our punt coverage, and you might want somebody that's more sure-handed. Like, I don't know. But I have to agree. I think Aaron Anderson is going to be the highlight, and that's why we had him in our thumbnail. Right. I think he's going to be the highlight of the punt returns and the kick returns. Next to him on the kick returns, I think you're going to see Noah Cain again. I mean, he was very solid last year. I mean, why would you change it out? The biggest question for me, though, is do we see Chris Hilton get some action back either at kick return or punt return? I mean, we talked about it last year. It was talked a lot about last year about him potentially being the guy. Of course, he ultimately had the injury. Didn't really play much last season at all. I don't think he played at all last season, did he? I think he played a little bit. But he was hampered. Yeah. He was hampered last year by an injury. So, you don't want to put him out there on the punt return or kick return. So, do we see him get action? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. I like to see Noah Cain be back there as well. I think he did a solid job, and I think he could take care of business with Aaron Anderson, kind of being the head guy there.
I think, obviously the biggest problems with last year was, catching the football on punt returns. But I think the second biggest problem was the coverage on kickoff and punt returns.
Oh, yeah.
So you have got to be better on coverage. So this year, I definitely want to see an improvement catching the football on punt returns and on kick coverage with punts and kickoffs. I mean, and that's when, like with the kickoff, you just hope that Dibert Nathan, which he did a pretty good job at this last year. I mean, he wasn't perfect. He kind of started slow, and then near the end of the year, he got a lot better at doing this. But just kick it out the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
If you're kicking it out the back of the end zone, you never have to worry about. And that's what Xavier Atkins, or not Xavier Atkins. I'm going blank. What's his name? Adkins. It was Adkins.
Yeah, Atkins. Avery Atkins.
Avery. That's what Avery was so good at, man. I mean, it was like a sure thing. Like, he's going to boot it out the back of the end zone. Like, and you hope to see that because, I mean, Nathan, I don't know if you've seen Nathan, but, I mean, he's like a stocky. I mean, he's got massive thighs, paws. I mean, he's a big dude. Like, he's stocky. Like, he's built. And so, like, I would love to, I mean, he should be able to have the ability to kick that thing out of there. So, kick the thing out the back of the end zone. Let's get some
consistency. That's all I want.
There.
That's all I want.
That's all I want to see. Is there anything else, Reagan, you got on the special teams?
I mean, I think long snapper Slade Roy. I mean, obviously. he was solid all year long last year. I mean, he caused you no problems. I think he did a great job, and I think he could be another strength to your special teams. Him and Jay, I think were phenomenal last year, and I think we see the same again this year. So, and he got that return or the muff punt against Mississippi State again. Maybe he can pull that off again this year. So, but yeah, I like Slade Roy a lot. Maybe we can get him back on the show again. We had him on last year.
See, it was my fault. It was my fault. He has told us that he's wanted to come back on the show, and I didn't think about it. I honestly, we didn't really. Me and you didn't communicate great during our time off about which position group we're going to start with. because whenever I created the show, I was like quarterbacks. I was like, we'll just do that one first, whatever. And then you text me today and you're like, hey, we're doing the special teams. I'm like, oh crap, let me go change this real quick.
Well, that's what we did first last year, so I just figured.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So, I'm not going to blame you, but I should have been more prepared and probably communicated better on, hey, what we're doing, because we would like to try and get some players that are in these position groups on for our show. So we're gonna be attempting to do that, guys. Obviously, they're super busy right now as they're prepping for football season.
Yeah.
So it may be difficult to do that, but we're gonna try our best to get some guys on, some current players on who are in these position groups as we go through and break down these position groups for this upcoming year. Would you say that special teams is the biggest concern?
No, I really don't think. I don't think special teams is going to be a concern this year. I really don't. The way Brian Kelly has described it is that it's kind of an all hands on deck thing. Yannick is kind of your guy, the point man on it, right? The one who got promoted to that title as special teams coordinator. But he said really everybody's going to be participating in special teams. So I think it's going to be well prepared from I think Brian Kelly is going to be very prepared in terms of special teams, like what's going to be taken care of and who's going to be where and coverage. And I think there's been a lot more eyes on special teams this year, and it's not going to be a problem. I really don't foresee what happened last year happening again, because I don't think Brian Kelly is going to allow it to happen again like that.
I don't think the special teams unit is going to wow you. It's not like 2011 when Tyrann Mathieu was back there.
Right.
And you're like, hey, he could break one. Now, maybe Aaron Anderson does that. Maybe we'll see. Maybe it becomes that, but I definitely think it's going to be a major step up. I don't think you're going to have issues with, point after attempt coverage, right? Point after attempt blocking like you did in the first game last year, which was just absolutely brutal. It just absolutely cannot happen.
Right? It won't happen. I don't think it's going to happen again.
I don't think that happens.
I won't say I won't. I won't say it won't.
Yeah.
But I definitely think they're taking care of business. I definitely.
Yeah, knock on wood. You may shank one every now and then, but hopefully, they do a lot better job this year at protection. I think protection is just the biggest thing this year, man. Yeah. It might be more of a need than catching. You want to catch the ball in punt returns, but I feel like that. I don't know, between catching the football on special teams and coverage, those two were really bad. Yeah. So it's between those two on awful. Which one you really want to see kind of get fixed.